we'd like, as soon as the 8 seats are filled up, then we'll get started. And if the city engineer Andy Bone could hand me we got press releases to hand out. Just take one. If you want a copy of the press release, hey, raise your hand. Still got a few more chairs to fill in. It would be helpful if you'd fill them in. And there's a reason for it. I want everybody a little bit closer because you're all going to introduce yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. 4 more to go. Rebecca, have a seat. Got 2 more to go. Press, help your David and Nicole.
We're good.
Okay. All right, we're ready to go. Thank you for coming. I'm Randy Woodbury. I'm honored to be chosen by Mayor Roses to be his Director of Public Works. We have former Director Bob Badkowski here. Big shoes to fill. I'm glad to have him here. He's always available by phone to help me out. We have a short agenda out here, and then we'll move in and let Wendell Engineers. We have Brian Sabiga here. Raise your hand, Brian, from Wendell, who's done the design here. I think it's important that I just give you a very brief history here, but before I do that, some of us don't know each other, so we're going to start, and even the press are going to have to introduce themselves. We're going to start over here with Access 12. Tell us, we're going to move right around, and everybody tell me who you are.
Gabriel Taylor with Access 12, Dunkirk. I'm Ed Ramos, City Clerk. I'm Ed Cruz with I'm Kevin Muldowney from Kathy Young's office. Bob Charleston, Gilbert Foods.
Sean Raiders, City of Dunkirk. Bob Badkowski, Mayor Willie Roses.
Andy Bone, City of Dunkirk Engineer.
Dave Artolato, City of Dunkirk Police Chief.
Mike Edwards, City of Dunkirk Fire Chief.
Rich Morris Rose, City Attorney. Barry Levy, Advanced Design Group.
Mike Bishon, City of Dunkirk.
Victor Rosa, City of Dunkirk.
Brandon Manzella, City of Dunkirk.
Elizabeth Rankin here on behalf of Assemblyman Andy Goodell.
Jacqueline Schraub Phelps on behalf of Congressman Tom Reed.
Brian Sabiga from Wendell Companies.
Diego Siriani, Empire State Development.
J.C. Smith, Environmental Facilities Corporation.
Dave Raleigh, WDLE 96.
Nicole Gugino, Dunkirk Observer. Rebecca Yanis, City of Dunkirk Planning and Development Director.
Matt Burke, Community Development Planner for the City of Dunkirk.
Valerie Pavlak, Incubator, New Revitalization. Thank you. Thank you.
Marcia Beach, Fiscal Affairs Officer, City of Dunkirk.
Vicki Weston, City of Dunkirk.
Sandy Weston, Citizen, Dunkirk.
Is that everyone?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to thank you for coming down. Let me get this mic back over here. Okay, and I think you're all set.
Good, thank you, Hector. And that's Hector Roses, who's the chairman of Fund for the City of Dunkirk and also the person who makes anything impossible happen. So thank you, Hector.
You're welcome.
I'm going to give a few words here and introduce the person who really makes it all possible, and the reason I'm staying on to a late age I think it's important that I tell you a little bit about the history of this plant. The city of Dunkirk is, of course, on Lake Erie. Lake Erie is one of 5 Great Lakes that represent 20% of the fresh water on this planet. 95% of the fresh water in North America. That's amazing. And we're here at beautiful Lake Erie. In the 1960s, Lake Erie was considered dead. It was polluted because these facilities weren't up to date. In 1970, the Clean Water Act by President Nixon allowed this plant to be upgraded. Before that, we had a 36-inch sewer come to this plant, and it was very poorly treated. But after the Clean Water Act, we put a lot of money into this plant with federal aid, and we have a new pipe that runs. I'll tell you a little bit about it. Right on that manhole, it's 5 stories below Lake Erie, and that pipe is 7 foot in diameter. And I was in that pipe because my father was the resident engineer in 1970 when this plant was built. And my brother and I were just kids, and he probably violated every child labor law, but I was down in there. And we had a railroad that ran all the way to the Main Street apartments. And there's a 7 foot diameter pipe, and if you do the math, to go from a 7 foot pipe from a 36, we've increased the capacity of this plant in 1970 by a factor of 6, because the ratio of flow is proportional to the square root of the radius of the pipe. You probably don't want me to keep talking technically like that, so we're going to keep moving. But we have a lot more facility here in 1970. But some years have passed, and this wonderful plant has gotten older, and some of the things are broken down. It's time to fix those things. It's just a natural process of aging of this plant. It's a wonderful, wonderful plant. But we have right now that 7 foot diameter pipe goes into a big withholding tank inside here, and the filter screens that take off some of the big debris that come down the 7 foot pipe to the pumps. We have 3 pumps, 5 stories below Lake Erie. Each one of those pumps is 300 horsepower. That's 900 horsepower of pumping ability to take the wastewater from the facility with electricity and pump it through this plant. If we can't keep up with that, because during a big rainstorm sometimes we can't, we have 2 large 75,000 gallon per minute storm pumps that can pump rainwater treated with disinfectant and pump it out Lake Erie. And those the total of horsepower on those 2 pumps is 3,000 horsepower. So we've got a 900 horsepower all the time, 3,000 horsepower available, but there's no screens ahead of those pumps. It's like running your vintage Corvette without an air filter. It's time to replace those screens. One of the screens has been delivered. It's on the other side of the plant. After we go inside and have a little bit more, we'll take a look at that. But this plant, the 7 foot diameter pipe goes all the way out throughout the city. It's built in 1970. It goes up Main Street and picks up our wonderful Fieldbrook Farms industry. It goes up Roberts Road, picks up our wonderful cod industries. It goes out the back over here, picks up Nestle Purina, and it's going to pick up Athenix eventually. It goes up Brigham Road and picks up the steel plants. And I'm probably leaving some out, but it's primarily built for industry. This is a city that has a combination of residents and wonderful industries. And we have to keep this plant up so we can keep helping the industry meet their goals. So that's thumbnail sketch of where we are, and we're kind of worn out. So I'll tell you, it's important to treat water well, because 70% of each one of us is water. I would think that 70% is fairly important. So let's treat that water well. And I'll tell you, this plant would not be being fixed right now without the 100% support of Mayor Wilfred Roses. Mayor Roses?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to just welcome everyone here to the City of Dunkirk's wastewater treatment plant. I have to start by just thanking our Honorable Governor, Andrew Cuomo, for the support that he has been providing to many municipalities here in Western New York, but in particular the City of Dunkirk has been receiving a lot of attention from the state. And as mayor, I certainly appreciate that. I would like to acknowledge also the presence of representatives from our 2 state elected officials, Senator Young's office, as well as Assemblyman Goodell's office, who have been also working with the city. And today, this is not such a glamorous announcement that we're making here today. We've had much more glamorous announcements throughout 2017. But in my opinion, this is probably one of, if not the most important announcement that we're making. Today, we're announcing a $10 million project here, which will provide the city with the ability to retain jobs in our food processing industries as well as our industrial plants that we have currently, and also provide them with the opportunity to expand. More importantly, it provides the city with the opportunity to welcome more employers that will bring in more jobs here to the city. So we're excited about this project because, again, with Athenix coming in, one of the reasons that the Athenix project is happening here in the town of Dunkirk is because of this plant here behind me. Our ability to not only supply water but to treat it is why Athenix is actually here in the town of Dunkirk. And many people are not aware of that. So this project is going to bring in opportunities for more employers to come into our city. We're already in our development department. This morning we made an announcement on the housing complex that's going to be coming up. And there's going to be more. We have many developers who have come into our development department and are now inquiring about opportunities to build here in the city of Dunkirk. And this is because of our ability to not only supply water but to treat it right here at our plant. So we're very excited about that, and at this time I guess I'll be turning it over to our engineers. Is that correct?
And one more thing. We'd like to remind you that Dunkirk not only sends its wastewater, we have to remove 95% of the pollutants to send the water back into Lake Erie, because all water is recycled. The 70% of us that's water, some of those molecules were probably in the dinosaurs. So it's all recycled water. We take our drinking water out of Beautiful Point at the Lighthouse Point. We treat our water with granulated activated carbon. More than half of the Canadians drink out of the Great Lakes. We have probably some of the best drinking water out of the Great Lakes that you could imagine because of the filtration that was paid for with the Appalachian Regional Commission in the 1990s. So I wanted to just mention our water treatment plant is state of the art as well, putting a lot of money into that. Then it all comes out and goes here, but it's all part of recycling. And then what doesn't get recycled is money. And in order to do all this, it has to happen. We're going to have a presentation right here of, this is a more than $10 million project, and the presentation from the Environmental Facilities Corporation is going to take place right now.
This is J.C. Smith from Environmental Facilities Corporation, New York State.
Congratulations, Mayor.
You want to say something?
Certainly. I'm on behalf of EFC, the governor. I'm very happy to acknowledge and present over $10 million to the city. We understand that this funding helps the city with an important project that addresses community planning, it addresses water quality, and it addresses economic development benefits. Mayor, your team of city employees and consultants did an excellent job presenting a competitive, excellent project to us. And thank you for asking us to be here today. Do you want me to field the question?
No.
Can we catch your question in a minute?
Catch the question inside. You could ask them. Why don't we? Is everybody warm enough to have a few more talks out here? Or would you like to go inside? Okay. That's next on the agenda. Was going to go inside. We'll warm up and we'll reconvene in there and have a little more talk. So take a few minutes. We'll move inside.
Speak specifically on what's going to happen with the filtration system.
Yeah, sure. We're going to. I'd like to have Brian Sabiga from Wendell and Chief Engineer Sean Rayner come up. Okay. All right. Okay. If you could stand there for just a second. The next on the agenda, if we'd like to have we'd like to have the political representatives here from Congressman Reed's office and Assemblyman Goodell's office. Come on up and say a few words. And Senator Young's office. Kevin.
Being recognized is enough for us.
And our county legislator, if you would like to come up, please.
Yeah. Jacqueline, you can start us off.
I'll be really quick, but you know, driving down the road today and driving past down the lake, you see this beautiful, beautiful city. And it has been awesome over the last couple of years at the helm of Mayor Rosas and with the work of Hector and Rebecca and the team to really see Dunkirk thrive. And that's what it does. And when we introduced ourselves today, not only do you have the city team here, but you have residents. You have Bob here from Fieldbrook Foods, who's made such an investment in this community, and you see what matters. And this is just another part of what matters, because infrastructure projects are so important. And the congressman is very excited that this is happening. He's also very excited that the state has chosen to distribute federal block grant funds for a project like this. And we are so happy that we can be here with the city to celebrate and the state to celebrate today something that is going to be an investment for the city of Dunkirk for many years to come. So thank you.
I think we'll just speak together here.
There we go.
We're just proud to be a part of the team. The state plays a big part. Appreciate the state officials, the money guys over there, as we like to say. But Senator Young just appreciates everything that the local officials are doing, and we hope to be a part of future projects. Thank you very much.
And Assemblyman Goodell says thank you to everybody who's worked so hard to make this happen. Without our infrastructure, not only that the city would struggle, but with the good things that are happening here, people will want to stay, people will want to move here, businesses will want to come, so that we can rest assured that things like this facility, which we can take for granted, but I tell you, when it's not working, we certainly know about that. So thank you to everybody who worked so hard for this, and congratulations. Thank
you. County Legislator Bob Bankowski. At the time when this project was in the infantile stage, I was the Department of Public Works Director, so I spent a lot of time with Randy, who was our city engineer, Sean, our chief operator here, and Brian. Spent many hours, many days sitting down hashing this out, and it's just a great day to see. I mean, it's a little cold today, but it's very good that this project has finally come to fruition, and it's just going to help expand what the city of Dunkirk can now do to welcoming in more business, because we will be ready to receive that waste from whoever they may be, and actually help companies like Mr. Charleston from Fieldbrook continue to expand and create more jobs. So I just want to thank everybody for all their help and all their work to make this all possible.
Just wanted also to acknowledge the presence of Diego Siriani here from Empire State Development, New York State again. The state has been paying attention here to Western New York. I have to repeat that again, because we have been very fortunate to receive the attention that we have been receiving. So thank you very much, Diego, for coming out.
Good afternoon. I'm Brian Sabiga from Wendell, and this is Sean Rayner from the city of Dunkirk, and we're actually give you a little bit of a technical description of what's going on with the project. Actually, the interesting thing is there's a third agency from the state, NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, actually gave the city a grant to actually develop and study these improvements that kind of kicked off the project. And what was actually identified is there's quite a few areas for the city to both save money, replace equipment that's failing, and be more efficient. Some of the things that are being replaced are the 2 bar screens are being upgraded. Actually, a grit system with a new building is being installed to actually remove grit and particulates, whether it's a little bit of roadway debris, whether it's coffee grounds from the wastewater. There's LED site lighting that's going all over, so it's going to make the lighting better so the facility is safer, as well as reducing energy. One of the interesting things is these products are going to save about $200,000 per year. And when you actually think about greenhouse gases and some of Mayor Rosas and the rest of the council's commitment, The savings from this project is going to be the equivalent of planting over 5,000 new trees every year as this equipment operates. So it really is going to help. In addition to helping the water body, it's going to help make things better for the environment, for our children and our grandchildren. Some of the other things we're doing are some heating and ventilation improvements to make the air quality inside for the workers safer so they don't have fumes in there. To go ahead and actually do some things with pumping. We're replacing quite a few pumps that have been 40-some years old and they've just started to fail and they just can't keep up anymore. And lastly, we're going to put in a new generator that'll make sure that the plant is resilient. You get a power failure, the plant will still operate. It won't have to shut down. It won't cause industries to have to get a phone call and say, stop sending out your product. We understand production is important. You need to operate to be competitive. So it's all these things where we're giving the tools for people like Sean and all the other great employees here in the city to do what they need to do. They actually need the tools to be able to do what everyone's asking them to do, and the mayor and the council have stepped forward to do that. So actually, that's on the technical side, that's what we have. Do you want to make anything from the operations side, Sean? Any comments?
Just what Randy had said. It's important that we take care of our water supply. We recreate out here. I fished in this lake. I swam in this lake. I want to keep the lake the way it is. It's our source of water for everything that we do. And I'm grateful from the mayor's office all the way up to the state for the support we're getting to get these upgrades done. That's all. Sean, S-E-A-N, Raynor, R-A-Y-N-O-R.
What's your title?
Chief Operator.
And the gentleman before you, could you spell your first last name?
Yep, Brian, B-R-I-A-N, Sabiga, that's...
To the microphone.
Yeah. Brian, B-R-I-A-N, Sabiga, that's S-I-B as in boy, I-G-A, and I'm the project manager with Wendell. Yep.
Okay. At this time, we're going to take the ceremonial picture with the shovels and groundbreaking picture.
You want to leave the cameras here? We'll bring the dirt over here.
Mr. Woodbury, I'd like to ask
Dirt in the air. I'll do a sample. It's going to go like that. Everybody hit that spot, okay? John, grab a shovel. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Again. Reenact that. 1, 2, 3. That's kind of fun. One more time.